Hello everyone, welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. This is going to be a post-match, dust has settled debrief on the game yesterday and the situation at West Ham as a whole. And no, Graham Potter has not been sacked. And I've woken up and I still feel the same. He should never have been here in the first place. It was a poor appointment. But look, before we get into this, if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the video, and if you are new to this channel, please subscribe, because it does really help us. There's around 32% of you that have watched our videos in the last 28 days that are not subscribed. So you might not even know. So please check, have a little look, hit that subscribe button. It does really help us. And welcome to all the new people that have joined us as well. All right. Yeah, I've woken up. I don't feel any better, understandably. I feel worse, if anything, because the situation at West Ham is beyond dire. I did the watch-along yesterday. Great sort of doing that with people, to be honest. I mean, it was miserable. It was always going to be a miserable experience, but it was made better, you know, doing it with people in the chat. You know, we was all suffering as one. And then we went on to do the post-match show. Anyone that hasn't watched it, it was a lot longer than the usual one because we had Sports X on. There's 2 calls there because he dropped off. But he gets right into the nitty-gritty of why we're in this situation and what we need to do to move forwards. And to be quite honest, why we're not going to, if we're being honest, under this ownership. What he goes on to say, if you listen to it, I mean, he actually hyped us up after being 5-1, being beat 5-1 at home by Chelsea, who were just they sleepwalking to 5-1. They didn't even get out of second gear. They didn't, and they did get bored after an hour. You know, the game was done. It was dead. The fans had mostly left. You know, we've been defeated. We've lost our fight as a fan base as well. But what he went on to say was, in not so many words, is that West Ham is a fantastic club with an amazing fan base with tons and tons of potential that many people in the world of football can see as well. You know, he said, look, you know, if West Brom went and won a league like Leicester did last year, you know, managers like Xavi, who would absolutely be interested in coming to West Ham. He knows this because he talks to these people. Because they see West Ham, they see our heritage, they see what we're all about. We're in a great location. And we have, to the outside eye, got a fantastic stadium as well. I know we hate it, but it looks good, doesn't it? But we've got a good stadium, a lot of fans, and we know we've got a massive sleeping fan base. And we are potentially massive. We've got a massive fan base, but as a club, we could challenge. The only person that's stopping that from happening, the only person, is the bloke that's owning this club. He's holding us back. That's the long and short of it. He's holding us back. He hasn't got a clue. He's been making it up as he's been going along. You know, I'm not going to keep on banging that same drum, but we know what he's done to us. We know what he's taken away from us. He's a thief. He's not an owner. He's a thief. He's stolen everything from us. It's time he goes. Now, what I'm going to go on to say now is we've been pushing this petition since before the window opened because, look, we could foresee what was going to happen. We could see this. It's no surprise to us, but it doesn't make it any less painful. Watching it unfold makes it more frustrating because we try to maybe have some, you know, maybe naively have some sort of effect of this situation. Maybe the fans, if we'd have got 30, 40, 50,000 signatures on that petition prior to this mess unfolding, then maybe we could have embarrassed Sullivan and we could have had some sort of positive impact in the transfer window and in the direction of this club, which is now massively on a downward spiral. And I'm going to explain why in a minute. But we haven't had that. You know, we've had nothing but. I've done a show about it before. You know, after the shit that we've had and after the repeat proof that we've been given in terms of evidence from this board that nothing's going to change, we've had nothing but people building fake hype, fake positivity, to basically deflect away from what we was trying to do, which was build a bit of a movement over the summer. And it is building now, but it's approaching the point where it feels like it's a little bit too late, certainly for this summer. And my God, does it feel like it's too late. We look like we're a little bit fucked. And that's what we've had. So you've had, you know, certain platforms coming out there. I've spoken about it before. Sullivan sees what we're doing and he basically goes, link us to this player, link us to Harvey Elliott, Mr. ITK, link us to Grealish, link us to that player. And then fans naturally By default, they get excited. They do. I know they do. Doesn't help that the majority of, I would say, hardcore fans, there's still a lot to go over the stadium, but the majority of them are gone, which is why we haven't got much of a voice in that stadium anymore. Gentrification inside that stadium is complete. You know, the ones that are there, they're diluted. But fans like me, like John, you know, Ryan Archer, like most of the people that I speak to, they don't go anymore. So we haven't got that sort of fierce passion anymore. You know, the only noise you're going to get inside that stadium now is, apart from a few dissenting voices, which I did hear, which was, look, it's good to hear. It should be on loop for 90 minutes. It shouldn't just be in reaction to a poor performance or a poor result. We should be forcing them out and loop, but we're not going to because it's been diluted. But that's the main problem. You know, the demographic of the fans inside that stadium, the fan base that made West Ham special, the fan base that made West Ham what it is, because that is what West Ham is. The fans. We're the ones that gave the team character. We had players that kind of reflected us, and that's all gone. It's all changed. We can pull it back because those fans are not gone from the face of the planet. They're still there. I'm sure many of them are. God rest their souls, you know. But there's still a lot of us, you know. There's still a massive core West Ham fan base that could pump character back into this club again. But like I said, all you've had are people, Sullivan and his team of cronies in the media with fan channels and podcasts pumping out counter narratives. And now what you're getting is, right, because this all stems from them as well. I've seen tweets this morning. Now you're getting counter narratives coming out talking about David Moyes. So on one hand, they're talking about how, you know, bad the board is and, you know, and how we need change. Yeah. But then what they're doing is they're deflecting and saying, this is because we got rid of Moyes. This is because we got rid of Moyes. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, right, but how brain dead have you got to be? That bloke was awful for 2.5 years. We had a 35-game relegation battle in the season when we won the Conference Cup. I thought we was getting relegated when we lost to Newcastle. I thought we was gone. That was with Paqueta and Declan Rice in central midfield. Moyes was failing. And you look at the difference between what Spurs did in exactly the same situation with Ange Postecoglou. They won the Europa League. They had an awful Premier League season, but they acknowledged that this guy's done. You know, you can see it's failing. It ain't going to get better. It's just not. We'll use this fucking lucky plaster over this season as a springboard to push us on, as a catalyst. We'll go out, we'll invest, we'll keep the core players that we've got. We're on the map now, somehow, and we'll get a manager in, which we absolutely could have at the time, to drive us forward. We did not do it, and yet all you've got are people going back to David Moyes. And again, this is a narrative that's coming from Sullivan as well. It's a counter-narrative. Everything is driven to divide this fan base. It will never stop. It will never stop. And people won't, they'll never cotton onto it. They absolutely won't. It does feel a little bit like we're defeated now. I mean, even like the scene, look, I'm not going to criticise the people like the Ironworks Alliance. I'm not. But I watched a post-match chat on West Ham Fan TV with Big Dave. And what he said was absolutely true. You know, even the people that are driving the apparent new atmosphere in the club, you know, the Ironworks Alliance, they're in the pockets of Brady now. They're working with us. So they're not going to sit there and sing anything against the board. It's going to be happy clappy. It's just going to be about, you know, supporting and stuff like that. It's not what we need right now. We need an atmosphere, but we need a fierce opposition to the people that are destroying us. We're sleepwalking like lemmings. You know, we're walking off a cliff. And it's gone too far now. You know, if you go back to the summer, because the propaganda isn't just fan channels and even mainstream media, because we know he talks to Steinberg, he talks to Jim White, as well as all the other fucking ITKs that we know that he talks to, of which I am going to come out and do a show very soon, like I promised, because it just needs to be said. Because yeah, they don't think twice about naming me. So I'm going to be doing the same with them and telling you how this all works. But it's coming from the club as well. The club is so clueless. How many of you were sitting there going, oh, I think it's the way of the world now. But how many of you were sort of sitting there going, oh, look, all the players are dancing. They're having so much fun. They're so together now. So much more together than they was before. This is a fucking competitive sport that we're playing here in the toughest league in the world. I don't want to see the players in a fucking summer camp. I don't. If I want to see togetherness, you'll see that represented by what they do on the pitch, by looking as a team, by fighting together, fighting as one. And then they can have a cuddle after they've scored a goal, after they've won a fucking game, after a hard week's graft. But the whole media team over the summer was driven towards deflection. It was deflection. Look how happy everyone is. Because if that is all we was doing all summer, it's no surprise we're shit now. People are going to say it's all about camaraderie. Well, no. Do you know what? Success breeds camaraderie. It does. That group of players that won that trophy together, they will have a bond forever because of what they did and what they achieved together on that pitch. They're competitive sportsmen. And the scary thing is, West Ham as a team, we've always had characters. Always. We've had some sort of fierce characters within the team that will do something, that will kick someone up in the air. When Enzo and Casiado did that piss-taking action where they passed the ball backwards and forwards, 5 yards apart, about 8 times, they should have either been clattered on the spot or their card should have been marked later in that game. They should have had their fucking legs taken out by someone. But there's no one with any bollocks. John hit the nail on the head yesterday. London derby, we've been battered. How many yellow cards did we get? Absolutely none. But because of the situation and the world that we live in now, I'm not going to use the woke word, even though I just have. Let's just call it soft. People want nice. They want nice. You can't go and get yellow cards. You're a liability if you do. What is in your head? This is a competitive sport. You need men with bollocks in men's football. You know, I can only assume that Fulkrug went in at half-time and blew up because we know that he will. We know that we're trying to do a swap loan deal with him. This guy who leads us doesn't have bollocks. Not at all. And he can't have people in that team that are strong characters. He can't be challenged. You've only got to watch him in post-match press conferences. Look at even pre-match. He's so edgy, he can't be questioned. So you can imagine the reaction when a player does that. And competitive players absolutely will, and so they should. If something ain't right and they feel it ain't right, they should say something. Now everyone's broken. Are we cuddling now? Are we? No, it's all nonsense. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. Stick your fingers in your fucking ears. Focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't listen to these wankers that were going, we're going to be great. We're buying this player about 2 weeks ago. And now they're saying, oh, well, it's all their fault. All they do is divide the fan base for him. One way or the other. Deflection tactics. They are insidious, dirty fucking rats. They are. And when the truth does come out at some point of the man that they're working for, yes, the man they are actually working for and covering up, when that truth does come out, I'll tell you what, they're going to be so covered in fucking shit, you won't be able to see them. Because that's who you're protecting. That's who you're providing an alibi for. That's who you're working for, all for a few fucking quid. You sold your fucking soul. You're not West Ham fans anymore. No, you're not. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You ain't fans. You're profiting from fans. You're not providing a service to fans. Fans provide a service to you. It's arse about fucking face. So we've got to keep our eyes on the prize. West Ham fans, we need to be united. Anyone that comes out and doesn't back the petition now, look, if you don't want to back it, don't back it. But if you either don't back the petition or you mention the petition and say, but I don't think it's going to work, what is that? I'll tell you what ain't going to work. Doing fuck all ain't going to work. Nobody said that getting a petition done was going to make Sullivan and Brady leave. We said that this was a starting point, a show of unity. West Ham fans coming together after being divided by these wankers for so long. You know, united in a common goal and a starting point for more stuff to happen. That I will support. I'll go and support someone else's cause if it's to get him out. I don't care. Protest, whatever. But this is a starting point. So if you're going to mention the petition moving forwards, whether you're West Ham channels or you're anyone else, I'd rather you didn't fucking mention it at all. If what you're going to say is, well, you know, you can go and sign a petition if you want to, but I don't think it's going to do anything. All you're doing is you're discrediting. And that sparks alarm bells in my head thinking, what are you doing there? Exactly. It doesn't make fucking sense. So either push it or don't even fucking mention it. Otherwise, to me, you're just looking like you're speaking on behalf of that clown that's running this club. Because that's exactly what he would want you to say. You know as well as I do, that petition gets 30, 40, 50,000 signatures on it. He will be embarrassed in the media, which is what he cares about. He don't care about what we think about him, but he cares about the outside. And we should have had that already, but we haven't because of the way West Ham media is manipulated, it's controlled, and we've just been split. We would have had 50,000 signatures on that if we didn't have so many cunts running these things that are out there, dividing fans. So, yeah, look, we're fucked. We're fucked. We're in a relegation battle. And the most terrifying thing, going back to that point about the yellow cards, is that we are deconstructing and stripping out every bit of strength. So we're in a relegation battle and we're building a team with no fight. With no fight, with no character, with no spirit, with no bollocks, with no balls. Because you can't have players that do that now. And there's fans out there that support it as well. He's a liability. Fucking hell, grow up. Go and change your pants and watch fucking volleyball. This is supposed to be a men's game. It's football. Anyway, look, that is it from me. Don't keep your eye on the prize. Stop listening to these fucking idiots who are out there. Look, they're rattled. Their time's coming to an end as well. You know, their little cash cow. We're going to get him out of the club. That's what we're going to do. And they're going to become as fucking about as relevant as fucking as this vape is. Completely non-relevant. Because without having fucking inside information they can share, nobody will want to fucking listen to them. You know, you tune into most people because you want to hear opinion and personalities and stuff like that. These people are only fucking relevant because they're spreading information. So they'll do whatever they can to remain fucking relevant. So yeah. And that is a reaction. I've seen the fucking tweets talking about channels that swear and do this and do that. Well, maybe we haven't created an audience. Maybe what we've done is we've just given a voice to an audience that you never did. Have you thought about that? It's the same with politics as well. Fucking real West Ham fans that appreciate watching someone that speaks their mind with no filter, no bullshit, no propaganda, just goes on screen and speaks their mind. And they don't... Because there is no one out there that I'm aware of in West Ham, in terms of our followers that go, I'm not going to believe that unless Nick says it. No, they don't. They just like seeing a fan that's passionate on screen because they can relate to me. That's the problem. We're relatable. And there needs to be more of us that do it. We need to fucking clean this space up. We need to clean this club up. It needs to be sorted. We need to get them fuckers out. And then in turn, these other people will just disappear anyway, so it don't even matter. But look, anyway, that is it from me. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to speak to you soon. This is a war at West Ham. We're at war with the bald and all of the people that suck him off. See you later. Come on, you irons.